Anxiety, what it is, how it affects us, and how to overcome it. We have all at some point in our lives felt that pang in our chest, that restlessness that runs through our body. That, my dear friends, is anxiety. Today, I want to invite you on a journey of self-discovery, a safe space where we will explore together what anxiety is, how it manifests in our lives, and most importantly, how we can learn to navigate it. Because anxiety doesn't have to control us. Subscribe, share your experience in the comments, and leave us a like if you can relate. Let's begin. Anxiety, at its core, is a natural response, an alarm that is activated in the face of danger or perceived threats. It is the force that drives us to act, to protect ourselves, to survive in challenging situations. Imagine our ancestors, facing predators in the wild, relying on anxiety to stay alert and safe. Anxiety in that context was vital for survival and quick decision-making. Today, although we don't face saber-toothed tigers, our mind continues to react in a similar way to modern threats, whether real or perceived. The problem arises when that alarm is constantly going off, when anxiety becomes an unwanted companion in our daily lives, affecting our well-being. It is essential to understand that anxiety in itself is neither good nor bad. It is a natural part of our emotional spectrum. It is like fire. It can be destructive if it gets out of control, but it can also be a powerful tool if we learn to manage it effectively. What determines whether anxiety is adaptive or becomes an obstacle in our lives is how we understand it, how we accept it, and finally, how we respond to it with appropriate strategies. Because anxiety, like all our emotions, has a message to convey to us, a message that can guide us. It tells us about our needs, our fears, our vulnerabilities, and our deepest concerns. And when we learn to listen to it carefully, with compassion and understanding, we can begin to transform it into a source of strength. Anxiety, like a meticulous detective, rarely arrives without leaving clues. And although each person is a unique universe, there are certain patterns, certain common causes that can trigger or amplify anxiety in our lives. One of the most common causes is chronic stress, that silent enemy that settles into our daily lives. Our nervous system was not designed to withstand a constant state of high alert, and when stress becomes chronic, our body and mind begin to suffer, manifesting through anxiety. Another important factor is chemical imbalances in our brain. Neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine play a fundamental role in regulating mood. Past experiences, especially those that have deeply marked us, can also leave a lasting impression on how we perceive and respond to the world. Trauma, abuse, emotional neglect can condition our response to stress, making us more prone to anxiety. Additionally, we cannot ignore the genetic component. While anxiety is not inherited like a physical trait, the predisposition to experience it can be passed down from generation to generation. Therefore, it is essential to approach the problem from a holistic perspective, considering all the factors that may be contributing to our experience. Our body, that wise and complex machine, has its own language, a way of communicating with us through signs and symptoms. It speaks to us in a manner that is both subtle and profound, urging us to listen closely. And anxiety, how could it be otherwise, also has its own repertoire. It manifests in various ways, each one a signal that something within us needs attention. Sometimes anxiety manifests itself loudly, like a desperate cry for our attention. It demands to be heard, refusing to be ignored. The racing heartbeat, that frantic heart rate that makes us feel like we're running a marathon without moving from the spot. It's our body's way of signaling that something is amiss. Excessive sweating, that feeling of constant moisture, as if our body were trying to free itself from an invisible burden. It's a physical manifestation of our inner turmoil. Muscle tension, those knots that form in our back, in our neck, in our shoulders, as if we were carrying the weight of the world on us. This tension is a clear sign of our body's stress response. Other times, anxiety presents itself more subtly, like a constant whisper that undermines our inner peace. It lurks in the background, always present. Repetitive thoughts, those obsessive ideas that go round and round in our minds like a broken record, preventing us from focusing on the present. They trap us in a cycle of worry, difficulty concentrating, that feeling that our mind is in 1,000 places at the same time, but not really anywhere. It's as if our thoughts are scattered to the winds, and we cannot forget the intense emotions that often accompany anxiety. These emotions can be overwhelming, making us feel vulnerable and exposed. Irritability, that spark that ignites easily, that impatience that makes us react disproportionately to any stimulus. It's a sign that our emotional reserves are running low. The key is to learn to recognize our own body language, to pay attention to those signals that our mind and body send us. By understanding these signs, we can take steps to address our needs and find balance. Anxiety, when it becomes chronic, can have a profound impact on our physical and mental health. It is like a silent tide that erodes our coast, weakening our defenses and leaving us vulnerable to the storm. Imagine for a moment an engine running at full speed, without rest, without pause. This is how anxiety affects our cardiovascular system. The constant palpitations, the high blood pressure, and chronic stress are risk factors for heart disease. Our immune system, that network of cells and organs that protects us from disease, is also affected by anxiety. Chronic stress weakens our defenses, making us more susceptible to infections, colds, and other illnesses. Anxiety can also manifest itself in our digestive system, causing abdominal pain, diarrhea, or constipation. And as if that weren't enough, it can affect our sleep cycle, causing insomnia, nightmares, or waking up at night. But the impact of anxiety is not limited to our physical body. Our mind, our emotional world, is also affected. Anxiety can trigger or worsen other mental health problems, such as depression, obsessive-compulsive disorder, or post-traumatic stress disorder. We have reached a crucial point in our journey, a point where hope makes its way through the shadows, illuminating our path forward. Because yes, anxiety can be treated, we can learn to manage it, and even thrive despite it, to regain control of our lives, to feel empowered once again. And for this, we have an arsenal of tools and strategies at our disposal, ready to be used. One of the most powerful techniques, and at the same time the simplest, is deep breathing. It's a tool we always carry with us. In moments of anxiety, our breathing becomes shallow, rapid, fueling the cycle of panic. By breathing deeply, inhaling through the nose and exhaling slowly through the mouth, we can break this cycle. We activate the parasympathetic nervous system, responsible for relaxation and calmness, bringing peace to our minds. Physical exercise is another great ally in our fight against anxiety. Physical activity releases endorphins, neurotransmitters that act as natural painkillers and enhance the feeling of well-being, making us feel more alive. It's not about becoming Olympic athletes, but about finding an activity that we enjoy, that helps us release tension and connect with our body, grounding us in the present moment. Mindfulness is a practice that invites us to be present in the here and now, without judgment, observing our thoughts and emotions without clinging to them, letting them pass like clouds in the sky. By cultivating mindfulness, we learn to manage anxious thoughts, to observe them without being swept away by them, gaining clarity and perspective. Healthy lifestyle habits also play a fundamental role in managing anxiety. Getting enough sleep, maintaining a balanced diet, avoiding excessive consumption of caffeine and alcohol, and making time for activities we enjoy are fundamental pillars to strengthen our resilience to stress, helping us build a more balanced life. And while all of these tools can be very helpful, it is important to remember that we are not alone in this battle. Seeking professional help, whether through individual or group therapy, can be key to overcoming difficult times. To acquire more specific and personalized tools to manage anxiety tailored to our unique needs. We have come to the end of this journey, a journey that I hope has been revealing and enlightening, that has sown seeds of hope and courage in your heart. Because anxiety, although it may sometimes seem invincible, can indeed be controlled. The first step is recognition and awareness, accepting that anxiety is present in our lives, understanding its language, its causes, its effects, and its triggers. From there, we can begin to build a path towards healing and recovery. towards a fuller and more meaningful life filled with joy. Remember, you are not alone in this journey.